It's by Artaud. 2 tons of opium powder, 1 ton of cocaine, 1 ton of peyote, 1 ton of hashish, 1 ton of marijuana, 100,000 tons of rice, 100,000 tons of sugar, 100,000 tons of coffee, 100,000 tons of cocoa, 100,000 tons of cinnamon, 100,000 tons of garlic, 100,000 tons of oil, 100,000 tons of buckwheat flour, 100,000 tons of bananas, 100,000 tons of dates, 100,000 tons of tuna, 100,000 tons of hazelnuts, 100,000 tons of walnuts, 100,000 tons of figs, 100,000 tons of cassava, 100,000 tons of muscat grapes, 200,000 tons of pistachios, 200,000 tons of chickpeas, 200,000 tons of almonds, 300,000 tons of rats to stuff in the beef, the veal, the lamb, the giraffe, the camel, 300,000 tons of mussels, 300,000 of oysters, 300,000 of snails. Thank you. Artaud died in a lunatic asylum in 1948. He was found by his nurse one morning, lying at the foot of his bed, cuddling his shoe. There's poignancy for you. This next one is called Degeneration. Mix, mother X, gave X, mex, mix, love X, of X books X and words X. Shex, Isaac, Naux, 92x, and X, General X, quite X, well X. But X does X suffix from X age-related X, macular X, degeneration X. X, symptom X of X, which X is X, that X, vex, last X, character X, of X, each X, word X. She tries X, talks, read X, escapes X, herks, drifts X, off X, vex, page X, before X, it X, canex, bex, registered X. My mother gave me my love of books and words. She's now 92 and generally quite well, but does suffer from age-related macular degeneration, a symptom of which for her is that the last character of each word she tries to read escapes her, drifts off the page before it can be registered. Mother gave me la book and words in 92 and general quit. Well, but do suffer from age-relate macular degeneration symptom o wick I the last character of ik war she tried re-escape her drift off the pag before it can be registered. Moth gar low boo a word n 90 a general key well but do suffer age relate macular degeneratio symptwi the la character I was re escape he drift or to pa before que registere. Mot ge I bo war 90 genera que with the suffer age rela macula degenerati simp were to le carac e were tra escaha drupa beth register Moba wa 90 Jenna Kwa Sa Age Rel Mac Degenerat Simwa Kara Te Eska De B Register Ma wa 9 Gene Sa Age Re Ma Degenerasi Ka S De B Regist 9 Gen Agra M Degener S Ka S Regis Nin G Age Degeni Ch Regi Ni G Age Degen K Reg N Ag Deji Ri A Dej R D D. Thank you. Now I'm going to tell you a story. This is called Sunrise over Bognor, and Bognor is basically a humorous place. There's Butlins, Bognor Regis, and anyone who's been there knows it's a shithole. However, William Blake wrote Jerusalem there, in a street not far from Butlins, actually. And James Joyce started Finnegan's Wake there. How's it go? Something of Shore, Bend of Bay, something like that. So that's where he did a sketch for Finnegan's Wake. So, you know, there's a fantastic literary history, and I continue that with this story. Sunrise over Bognor. After the mother died, we lived in the large white room with floor-to-ceiling windows. Copy someone else's tick. Do something you're ashamed of. Write your name with movement. What would you do with a corpse? The father absented himself. We pinned sheets of paper to lampposts, missing the father, answers to no one, and a scanned photo blurry with condensation under cellophane of him as a young man standing with hands in pockets next to an uninterested horse in a paddock. Consider the lilies of the field. Nay, what do you lack? Moo. There were 3 of us, all called John. It had started as a joke. The father could never recall who was who. John, we'd shout. Our old names deserted us and became those of strangers. Move your favourite body part. Pass your exams, the father said to us when we were 11. At 16 and at 18, we were told, pass your exams. Pass your exams, he said to us when we were 21. Desmond, Catherine, Jeff, that's about right, said the father. The mother, the father, the 3 Johns, Lydon, Ritchie, Wardle, in the big house set back from the road behind the lime tree with the reflecting windows. Quack. How do you behave when you've lost something? We found the father living by the sea in the south. He sat and slept in a room made from a railway carriage set between lean-tos for washing and cooking, a privy outside the back door. Imagine that you are a god. Imagine that you are human. The father spoke only when spoken to, had no news, expressed no views. We had to invent his words for him. I didn't like the mother very much from the beginning, he said. He said when the friend died, he began to hate her. He said he liked to rise early and watch the day break to the east. The sea irritated him, he said. Suffer the little children. Think on the line of confusion. The stones of emptiness. Bleat. John was the favourite of the father, but the father didn't tell him that. The mother did. John was the favourite of the mother, but the mother didn't tell him that. The father did. John was the favourite of neither, but was told he was the favourite of both. The mother didn't call us John, she called us darling. You were so yummy when you were a baby, darling. I wanted 14 of you, 14, darling. Stations of the Cross, lines and a sonnet. 14, darling. Make yourself as small as an elephant, as slippery as a sheep. Slippery. Bar. What would you do with the body? Have you ever found anything you lost long ago? The mother wore furs and riding boots. The mother wore tweeds and hats. The mother's daddy had money, was in the city, had a little weekend place in Suffolk. The mother's mummy suffered with her nerves. The mother accompanied her daddy to events, to dinners, black tie affairs, handshakes and whiskey, cigars, and did you hear about the halt of the wave just before it breaks? A surrendered pause. It must be easier just to stop, said the father. We imagine. God is neither in the wind, nor the earthquake, nor the fire, he said. His pa had a hardware shop. The father's ma did the books and the housework. On Saturdays, the father packed pet food out the back, bran, oats, sunflower seeds. He learnt the business in the School of Hard Knocks at the University of Life. The father's brother, a cripple, said the father's classmates. Yes, said the father, more loved than the father, always much more loved. You are naked at work. Hiss. You are fully clothed in bed, too hot, sweating with shame. Cycling, said the father. We met cycling, stopped at a pub for lunch. The mother's daddy was at the bar holding forth, creating his never-ending stories. She wore a white bonnet, winked at me unpleasantly. You were so uptight, darling, horrid. You wouldn't chat to me at all, darling. Speak without talking. Imagine a roadblock. What does the body do? The mother's daddy brought them the house set back behind the lime tree. The father renovated and decorated and dug and paved and laid turf. He polished the windows inside and out. The light, the father said, that's what matters now. Darling, said the mother, it's lovely. You are a darling. Cluck. 14 darling babies, the mother said. She'd name them Alfreda and Obin and Orbin and Barclay, Blanche and David and Fenston, Figgy, Gustav, Opal and Ormerod, Staunton, Tansy, Zebedee and Xenia, all such darlings. Imagine the road back. Decide not to take it. Woof. 3 years ago, the mother forgot she smoked 40 a day. 2 years ago, she forgot she drank whiskey from lunchtime until she passed out. 1 year ago, she forgot to pretend she loved her children. 6 months ago, she started to defecate like a horse. Then she died. Squawk. Passed, said the father. The large white room at the front of the big house set back from the road behind the lime tree has 3 floor-to-ceiling windows. We pull back the gauze drapes and stand waiting for the father. The father says he used to be frightened of everything, but now he is frightened of nothing. We imagine, he says. He wants to check windows for drafts, roofs for leaks, the lawns for moss. Make your face smile without using any muscles. Watch quiz shows on television. Caught. Try not to think about ontology. Later, we stand again behind the shining panes of the large white room and watch the father leave, generate, destroy, increase, diminish, alter, and move. Thank you.
Martin Wakefield, everyone.